Greetings and welcome back to room 303 and our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to the poem Thoughts, poem number 11 of the 22 of From Noon to Starry Night. Now, we have, for those of you just saying, wait a minute, didn't we already have a poem in Leaves of Grass called Thoughts? And the truth is, yes, we have. And as well, the poem title of Thought itself. 5 times in Leaves of Grass we have that title, Thought. 3 times we have this title, Thoughts. You'll remember that the last one is by the roadside cluster, and then this one, and then the last one will be Songs of Parting. So Whitman likes this little one-word title, and I think it makes sense. Here we're going to have a celebration of democracy. You'll remember in the last Thoughts poem, it was of ownership. Here it's going to be of public opinion. So this idea of the use of the word of to start it will be significant. Now our assumptions are that you've been with us at LearnStrong.net, down that left-hand side, Talks with Walt, our playlist, and that you've been with us, I'm hopeful, from the very beginning, in the very first inscriptions, poems, all the way up to and including a set of introductory comments on to Noon to Starry Night, and we just finished with retreats. Now our Nortons, as we're always referencing our Nortons, will tell us that this poem was entitled, actually, Thought in Leaves of Grass 1860 and 67, and Thoughts thereafter. In the 1860 Leaves of Grass blue copy, as it's sometimes called, revisions, Whitman canceled the poem, but he retained it in all editions with the minor revision of 2 words in 1881. The theme is a common one with Whitman, the celebration of democracy, and that's what this poem's going to be, sustained by the intuitive wisdom of the people as against the impotence of institutionalism. And this is just pure Whitman as politician. As we talked about our 5 Ps, we're going to now get into this one. Notice he'll begin with of public opinion. The term public opinion gets used once and only once in Leaves of Grass, and it's here. Of public opinion, of a calm and cool fiat, sooner or later, this idea of the decree. You'll remember this from Song of the Universal too. How impassive, how certain and final. Notice the irony in his voice in this parenthetical. Of the president. Now, just to point out, president, or some version of that, gets used 27 times in Leaves of Grass. And as we pointed out when we first met this word for the first time in Leaves of Grass, that if you're talking about presidents from 1860 to 1881, right, we're talking about, of course, Buchanan, and then Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Hayes, and then finally Garfield. So when he uses this word president, depending upon which iteration of the poem and publication he's messing with, we could be talking about any number of presidents to be referenced here, right? Of the president with pale face, asking secretly to himself, it's interesting he uses the word secretly here, what will the people say at last? Notice it is italicized. I find this a fascinating moment in this poem when we will have italicized, and Whitman asks, I wonder if the president ever thinks, I wonder what the people will say at last. Of the frivolous judge, you'll remember this from Song of Myself 43. Of the corrupt congressman, notice we go here to this idea of corruption, right? Of the corrupt congressman, governor, mayor, of such as these standing, helpless, and exposed. Of the mumbling and screaming priest, you'll remember screaming from Ophiolage, and you'll remember priest from Song of Myself 43. I do not despise you priests, and yet the irony of that section, right? Soon deserted his idea that, hey, you know, there's a matter of time, only a matter of time. And all of this corruption, including even religious corruption, is all going to go away. And then he finishes the poem. Of the lessening year by year of venerableness and of the dicta of officers, statutes, pulpits, schools. You'll remember his attack on schools several times in Song of the Open Road, for example. Wisdom can't be taught in the schools. Of the rising forever, taller and stronger and broader, of the intuitions, notice not institutions, intuitions of men and women, and of self-esteem and personality. Now, you'll remember self-esteem from Song of the Open Road 10, to a pupil, Blue Ontario Short, passage 13, all with this self-esteem phrase. Of the true New World, of course, being used 11 times in Leaves of Grass. of the democracies resplendent in mass. You'll remember in mass is the very first word used in Leaves of Grass in that second line of oneself I sing, right? Of the conformity of politics, armies, navies to them. The antecedent here, of course, is democracies. Of the shining sun by them, of course, noon to starry night makes us think with sun. Of the inherent light, you'll remember inherent from myself and mine, of the inherent light, greater than the rest, of the envelopment, only use in all Leaves of Grass for this word is here, of all by them, that is to say democracies, and the effusion of all from them. You'll remember effusions from Song of the Open Road 6. Well, what exactly is it that Whitman's arguing here at 2a? I think he's arguing that democracies are way more important than institutions and politics and the like. Politics, priests, religion, and the like. At 2b, I love his repetition of happening 17 important times in this poem in the way that it's used. At 3a, how are we going to compare this to another poem maybe or text that we know? I think Thoreau's Civil Disobedience has to be mentioned here, the 1849 offering. We've given full lectures on it at learnstrong.net. Finally, at 3b, how are you going to own a poem like this? Well, the question is, do you share Whitman's belief in democracy and the power of democracy as he represents it here? Do you share his hope? I hope that your reading of Leaves of Grass leads you to greater hope in democracy. Thank you.